My name's Summer Streets. I'm a research scientist in the Water Quality Standards Unit at the Pollution Control Agency. This is a project funded by the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund, and what we're aiming to do is understand PFAS in air across the state. And we're using pine needles in this study as a sort of passive air sampler. The waxy coating on the needles is really perfect for us because it attracts and holds PFAS that land on it from the air. So we can understand deposition patterns across the state, which we could never do using typical sampling equipment. This allows us to get to remote areas that we've never tested before and do so very inexpensively. We are really fortunate to have an incredible group of clean water volunteers that we are able to also work with to get these samples for us in Needles statewide. It's an absolutely huge project that could not be accomplished without this wonderful group of volunteers out there willing to get samples for us.
I am Lindsay Albright, and I am the Monitoring and Outreach Coordinator with Dakota County Soil and Water Conservation District, and saw this come in through my email and saw this as an opportunity to volunteer myself on something that my organization, others that we partner with, are interested in, and went, oh, I can go out and do this, so I jumped at the opportunity. We're testing pine needles in trees that are within my neighborhood, and they could have high levels of PFAS is definitely a concern. It's not a boogeyman that's somewhere else. It's right here within our neighborhood.
This data can help us identify areas where PFAS might be higher for some reason. That can give us clues that we can use to do more investigation or perhaps remediation. It can help us understand PFAS in the air that leads to surface water and ultimately fish contamination, just from an atmospheric deposition standpoint. We can also perhaps with these data understand a little bit better the human risk to inhaling these chemicals even in remote parts of our state. We have partnered with the University of Minnesota Bell Museum Herbarium, and they have samples dating back as far as 1875. What we hope to be able to understand are changes in PFAS production patterns over the decades. We're also hoping to perhaps catch the first appearance of PFAS in Minnesota's environment. So it gives us this sort of glimpse in the rear view of production and environmental contamination that we just don't really have a good handle on at this point.
And the fact that it's across the entirety of the state of Minnesota and such a large data set, just from collecting pine needles, is phenomenal.